Welcome to Man About Danville with Logan H. Gurman, a podcast for Danville, Kentucky, and beyond. Conversations with friends, and you get to listen. Brought to you by the Logan Company, a commercial and residential real estate brokerage for Danville and Central Kentucky. 80% Danville-centric, 20% eccentric.
Good morning, Danville, Kentucky. You are listening to Man About Danville. I am Logan H. Gurman, the man about Danville himself, and you are listening to Danville's favorite podcast. Thank you so much for joining me, whether you are listening here in Danville, Perryville, Junction City, down on the Fork, Lancaster, Liberty, Dunnville, Lexington, Louisville, Indianapolis, Seattle, Atlanta, Denver, Portland, New York City, Nashville, Chattanooga, Memphis, Little Rock, Boca Raton, Abu Dhabi, Belfast, or Carrickfergus. I consider it a real honor and privilege that you choose to spend part of your day with me. I sincerely appreciate it. For new listeners or listeners who don't listen all the way to the end, I'm going to cover this now. If you want to get in touch with me, you can email me at ManAboutDanville@gmail.com. You can find me on my website, ManAboutDanville.com. I'm on Facebook. You can find me there at ManAboutDanville. My Twitter handle is at ManDanville. Instagram is probably the social media app that I use the most. You can find me there at ManAboutDanville. Of course, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and now even YouTube. Just about anywhere you find podcasts, you can find Man About Danville. This is a special episode for me. I have with me my firstborn son, Max Gurman. I also have my first foreign guests, Christian Perry and Rose Cately, in addition to Kira Pusateri. So this is a two-part episode. It's some of the kids that were in the Sister Cities Exchange. Couldn't get them all to sit down at the exact same time, so I had to do it in two parts. So the boys are first, the girls are in the second part. So be sure to listen all the way to the end, and let's get it going. All right, this is a first for me. I am delighted to be joined by my own son, Max Gurman, and my first international guest, Christian Perry. Gentlemen, thank you for being with me today.
No problem.
It's an honor.
So, you two gentlemen have been part of the first ever Danville Boyle County Carrickfergus Northern Ireland Student Exchange. For people that don't know, Danville has a sister city in Northern Ireland, Carrickfergus, and we have a sister city commission here in town, and they have been doing things back and forth with Carrickfergus for a number of years. We've had visitors from there, and we've sent folks from Danville over to Carrick from time to time. But this is the first time we've done it with students, and I just want to, before we get into the conversation, I just want to list the students who've participated. The students from Danville this year are Max Gurman, my son, Lily Hall, Tristan Harris, London Jackson, Ellie McMahon, Kyra Pusateri, and Chloe Streisick. And the Irish exchange partners are Christian Perry, who's here with me today, Ellie Kwok, Robbie McMinn, Kira Campbell, Kira Aiken, Rose Keatley, and Carter McGowan. So we got everybody. First things first. A couple of weeks ago, about almost 3 weeks ago now, Max, you boarded a plane, flew with your cohort of fellow exchange students and Jane Dewey and her husband,
Matthew.
What's his full name?
Matthew Hollick, I believe.
Matthew Hollick. They were your chaperones for the trip. And each student was placed to live in a home, and Max, you and Christian got paired together, and so you lived with, who did he live with, Christian?
He lived with me, my mum, Nikki, and brother Tommy.
And how old's your brother Tommy?
He is 5 years old.
Who was the most excited person to have Max come visit?
I mean, Tommy's a bit mental, he always is, so I assume him maybe.
Well, you all were kind to host Max, and you all took such great care of him, and I hope that, and in turn, we have tried to take good care of you while you've been living here in the States with us. So, Max, that was the first part of the trip, so let's start there. Tell us about the trip over there, what you did, what some of your favorite things were. Oh, and by the way, you're going to be a junior at Boyle County High School, right?
Yes.
All right. What were some of the highlights of the trip for you to Ireland?
Well, first of all, one of the highlights was getting to be with an awesome Irish family. Ballintoy Harbor was very cool. Able to rock climb and the free cliffs, see sights we've never seen before. Like, for example, the coastlines there, no sky rises, just grassy fields with cows and goats and sheep, and then just the Atlantic Ocean. It was very pretty.
So Carrickfergus, like Danville, isn't a terribly big town, right? It's pretty small.
It's pretty big. What was it?
Like 30-something thousand population.
Okay. So bigger than Danville, but not a metropolis by any stretch. And it's right there on the ocean.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
And you guys, Max, I know you love being near the water. You guys did all kind of stuff in the harbor and around. What all did you do?
The first day we took a boat tour. Where was it?
Rathlin Island and Carrickfergus.
Ballycastle?
Oh, it was from Ballycastle, and we went to Rathlin Island and Carrickfergus, and got to the rope bridge.
So paddle boarding on the beach, all that kind of stuff. Castles, you got to tour castles.
Castle. Yes.
Just the one. They just have the one castle.
The one castle in the city. Yes, just one castle.
Okay, so that's one more castle than Danville has, I guess.
Just one more.
So point to Carrickfergus for having a castle. Where are some other places you went?
We went to Dublin towards the end of the trip, but in Carrickfergus, we took a tour of the Andrew Jackson Center.
Because Andrew Jackson's parents were Irish, is that?
Yes.
Were they from Carrickfergus or Belfast? Or?
I believe Carrickfergus, yes.
Okay, so there's a memorial cottage for American President Andrew Jackson over there.
Yes.
What about the Gobbins? What I heard about the Gobbins. What were the Gobbins?
The Gobbins were a more modern version of a path used to go cliff walking from third class people.
Yeah, it was like originally created like before the World War One, and it was shot originally, and it was shot many times and only reopened in 2015.
Okay, so you get to walk along some like man-made rope bridges that kind of skirt along the shoreline, right?
Yes, not rope anymore.
It was modernized, so there was no fatal injuries going across the walk.
We didn't lose any students while we were on tour, right? How was the food, Max?
The food was very good. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
You sent me enough pictures of empty food dishes, so it looked like you enjoyed it.
Irish stew was pretty good, which was lamb, potatoes, carrots, other various vegetables.
I think it was pretty basic.
It was pretty good.
Well, it's a staple of the Irish diet. Is that close? I mean, everybody eats Irish stew.
It's not a common thing to eat, but it'd be, it's from the Irish.
Did your mom make it, or did you go out?
Yeah, mom made it.
That was thoughtful of her.
Burgers there are also chicken, not beef.
No, we do have beef burgers.
Well, all the burgers I got were chicken.
Oh.
Did not classify that in the menu.
No, see, we have burgers, but we have chicken burgers, beef burgers. Like anything in 2 baps is a burger.
Okay, fair enough. Then you finished up your trip after, 7 or 8 days in Carrickfergus and Belfast. Oh, you went to the Titanic Museum?
That was the first
Yes. Titanic Museum the first day. That was pretty cool. Got to learn about the Titanic, believe it or not, and the history of Dublin and their manufacturing and exports, which was very interesting.
The Titanic was built in Belfast.
Yes.
Harland and Wolff helped manufacture it.
That was the name of the company?
Yeah, there's like a famous 2 big yellow cranes. If you look up Harland and Wolff online, you will be able to find them.
Oh, and you went and saw a production of the Pirates of Penzance while there. Was it a student production?
That was the same day. Our own Robbie McMinn was starred in it. He was the Pirate King.
Ooh, famous both here and abroad.
Yeah, in the Opera House.
Is there anything you wish you could have taken Max to go do while you were in?
See, it would have been good to go down south, maybe, if we could have. But obviously, it's sometimes a bit of a stretch to get down there, and a lot of the stuff we had planned already, as Ryan Moffat had a big schedule for us.
Yes.
Only a few days, we had some free time.
That's Ryan Moffat, who's the director of the Uplift Theater Company, who's been working here in Danville for a number of years. He was your kind of guest host while our kids were in Ireland.
He was our Gian and Matthew.
Now, Christian, the same day Max came home, you arrived you stayed with us in our home here in Danville. I hope you've had a good time. If you haven't had a good time, wait till you get home to tell me. But anyway, how has your time been here? What have you enjoyed doing?
I mean, it's been brilliant. I think the best part is the heat. Like, that, we wouldn't get anything like this, like 30 degrees Celsius. Like, currently, I think it's in the 20s, low 20s, but like that's probably the best we're getting.
Most of the photographs I saw of Max, you all had on raincoats or hoodies or something, or other, even in the middle of the summer. So you enjoyed the warm weather. It's been pretty warm here.
Yeah.
But you haven't gotten too badly sunburned or anything.
Yeah, I've kept sunscreen on me at all times, even when it's raining.
Excellent. Well, let's see. We went to Louisville one day. We went to the Mega Cavern. You guys went to Summer Splash, the water park down in Somerset. Were you able to get to Walmart while you were here in Danville?
Many times.
What about Speedway?
Many times as well.
I don't know, Dan. We may not have a castle, but we've got a Speedway and we've got a Walmart, and it seems like you guys hit those places pretty frequently.
I mean, I think personally for me, those are level above the boring old car castle.
So you would rather spend 2 hours at Walmart than 2 hours in the castle?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, Max did get to try on armor while he was over there. That was pretty cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
the castle did have armor sets.
Some heavy armor.
It was nice of them to let you try it on too.
Yes.
So, was there anything that surprised you about America?
I don't know. See, a lot of stuff you expect, but like, I got to see Max's school, and I was like expecting to be, you know, like a completely different world, but it was pretty similar, other than like the lockers and stuff.
He took you up there the day he went to pick up his packet for classes, and you guys had been to some soccer games up there. We went to the Louisville City soccer match. What did you think of the Louisville City soccer game?
Yeah, it was actually a really good level. I think that might be the thing that surprised me, how like second tier American soccer was.
Do you think you're good enough to play for him?
Probably not.
Not yet.
But another interesting thing was Niall McCabe was Louisville City's captain, and he was Irish.
And you guys got to chase him down and meet him, and he talked to you guys?
Yeah, we waited at the end for about 30 minutes, and we got 6 player signatures.
Well, was he surprised to see some Irish kids coming to cheer him on?
I think so. Probably doesn't get it very often, but
I'm sure he was pleasantly surprised.
He did talk to us about the exchange program.
yeah,
Well, did you tell him he's too old? He can't participate. It's for students only.
I told him he could probably be a chaperone if he talked to Milton.
Well, that if he did talk to Milton, if anybody can make it happen, it's Milton Riegelman. What about American food? What do you think?
large portions.
Okay, I've heard that from some other folks too. Large portions. Did you have any fried chicken while you were here?
Yeah, one of the first lunches I got was from Lee's. It was very filling.
So you got your Lee's fried chicken.
Yep.
Did you get to Chick-fil-A?
I went to Chick-fil-A twice. Once in the airport, landed in Philadelphia, not in Kentucky. And then we went to a food truck on Friday.
What about Zaxby's?
Haven't been there yet.
Did you get to go to Cane's?
No, I think some people did go when they went to Buc-ee's.
I forgot. So different students with different host families did different things. We had some days with some downtime. So some guys went to Buc-ee's up in Richmond.
Yes,
Yeah.
The majority went to Buc-ee's.
What did we do that day? Did we do quiet reading at home or?
Quiet reading at home.
That was one of my favorite days, quiet reading day.
Downtime, time to relax.
And read.
Mm-hmm. Got to be prepped for school starting this week.
Yes.
What are you looking forward to when you get home back to Ireland? I'm sure you're going to be glad to see your mom and your brother.
Yeah, I'll be glad to see them. Maybe more high action, at home. Won't get any time to relax from brother.
And you've got about a week before school starts.
A bit over. We start on the 28th, I think.
Okay.
So,
Oh, so you got the rest of the month to go then.
yeah, pretty much. About 3 weeks.
And where are you in school?
I'm going into Form 5, which should be my third last year school. I think I'd be a sophomore in America. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'd be going in my second year of high school.
That sounds reasonable. So we'll just go with it. Have you got plans for after high school?
I mean, I'd preferably go to university of some sort. Don't know where, but it'd be good to have one of some sort.
All right, let's pretend you go to a university and they have a study abroad program, and one of your options is to study in the United States. You're going to come back here. You're going to find someplace else.
I mean, it depends on how, apparently it's quite expensive to go to college in America.
Well, but would you be interested in taking a semester over here just to check things out for?
Yeah, it'd be great if I could. I mean, I'd love to spend like a year or so abroad. It's always great to travel.
Well, I think it's been such a great opportunity for both of you to get to experience a different culture and not just to see the highlights. And if someone were coming to the United States, Danville might not be their first place. They might go to New York or L.A. or Washington, D.C. So we're a little off the beaten path, but I'm glad you got to spend time together and see how a typical American teenager lives. You think that's fair, Max?
Yes.
Don't you think you live a pretty normal, typical life?
Yes.
Even if your father is a bit draconian?
Yes.
Good answer. Christian, it has been absolutely lovely having you as a guest. You have been a delightful guest. You're polite, you're smart, you're funny, you're engaged, you're easy to talk to. I hope you've gotten enough sleep while you're here. I know Max has kept you busy. You spent a lot of the days we didn't have organized activities. I know Max has just had you in the car, and I know he had a lot of friends that wanted to meet you. And so we thank you for playing along and being a good sport with everything. It's just been an outstanding opportunity, and you are welcome to visit us anytime that you're anywhere close. So it's just been an absolute pleasure to have you. And would you, Max, I'll ask you this question. Would you recommend the program to kids from Danville and Boyle County? Would you recommend that they, if they do this again next year, would you recommend that they sign up and apply for the program?
Yes, I'd recommend signing up and applying for the program, as it allows you to have a more in the culture experience. And if you just went and toured around to the big cities and did all the touristy things, it allows you to see how a normal life functions in a different country, the food they eat, the things they do, instead of just going out to the restaurants that, who's the book guy?
Oh, Rick Steves.
That Rick Steves suggests.
Well, no, I think Rick Steves would agree. This is don't just hit the highlights, get off the beaten path and see how the folks live. So we recently did some big city travel abroad. So this was a different experience for you than what we did back in the spring.
Oh, yes, very.
I think our trip in the spring was pretty nice, but you enjoyed this one at least as much and in a different way. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Awesome. Christian, what about you? Would you recommend, when your brother's a little older, would you recommend that he come visit us?
100%. I mean, you get to see day-to-day life instead of going, for example, New York, Washington, something like that. All touristy places. You get to see how a more, casual, laid-back life is than, just going places that everyone's going to see. Whereas, like, a small percentage of people might get to see things and places in Danville and Kentucky. So it's great.
Well, we appreciate that you all have been here. I appreciate all the students that have been over to visit. We appreciate all the folks on the Danville Sister City Commission that have helped to work to make this possible. It was supposed to happen 2 years ago, and it got delayed, and we're so happy that it happened this year, and we are so thankful to you and your family and all the folks and officials in Carrickfergus who made this happen and were such gracious hosts to all of our students. It's just been a wonderful experience, and I can't recommend it highly enough. If every Irishman is as wonderful as you guys are, we'd love to have them all. It was just a great experience for all of us. Anything else you want to add? Any closing thoughts?
Just that it's been a great trip, and I hope to come back again sometime.
We'd love to see you. Max, thanks for being with me on the podcast. I know we had to twist your arm a little bit to come on with your old dad, but I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Getting all these kids to hold still at the same time is very difficult. So I'm doing this interview in 2 shifts. I am now joined by Rose Cately of Ireland and Danville's own Kira Pusateri. Ladies, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Kira, let's start with you. Would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Kira Pusateri. I'm a senior at Danville High School in Danville, Kentucky, and super excited to be here.
You're also the goalkeeper on the women's soccer team.
Yep.
And we're here at the brink of school starting, and I know you're in practice, and I know you've got your first game tonight.
Mm-hmm. First season opener. Good
luck with that, and thank you all both for making time to do this. You all have had a busy schedule while you're here, and there's been a lot going on, but I appreciate you both making time to be with me. Rose, have you ever been on a podcast before, much less a podcast as big and powerful as Man About Danville?
No, I haven't.
Well, congratulations, because I know your friends are going to be excited, and they can listen to it because that's global. And I'm delighted to have a foreign guest to expand my global reach for this podcast. Kira, have you ever been on a podcast before?
I have. I've been on 3, I think.
Oh.
And, recently, I'm starting to move into the position of the executive director of the podcast of the Kentucky Student Voice Team. It's called Get Schooled. And we just talk about equity issues across schools in Kentucky. So it's super exciting, and I'll be starting that within the next few weeks.
Now, is that something you're doing with Danville High School, or is it a statewide thing?
It's a statewide thing. It's kind of a self-elected, I found about it through a friend who goes to my school, and she recommended that I join. So I've been on it for 2 years now, on and off. But we do research, we do podcasting, we do media outlets, and we just talk about problems in schools across Kentucky, public schools and private schools.
And what's the name of that podcast again?
Get Schooled.
And can you find it Apple and everywhere else?
Apple, Spotify, yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Two multimedia celebrities right here in the same room. Who knew? Rose, tell me about yourself.
I'm Rose Keatley. I'm 18 and I just left high school.
So you finished with high school.
Yeah.
What's next for you? Do you have a plan?
I'm going to university, which is college, to do theology.
Theology.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to ask a loaded question here. Protestant or Catholic?
Well, I've grown up in a Protestant community, but I don't really associate. I don't think that the issue between both of the religions should be a big of a deal as what it is.
And it has been a big deal for quite some time. Before you all got here and before Max left, I was trying to brush up on my Irish history and the time of troubles and the Easter Rising of 1916. And I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I know there's a lot of history there, and it's fascinating to dig into. So where are you going to college?
It's a place called Belfast Bible College.
Okay. So you're Carrickfergus, which is where you're from, is just down the road or up the coast from Belfast.
So Carrickfergus is about a 20-minute drive out of Belfast. So the uni that I'm going to is in Belfast, in the centre of it.
Kira, let's start with you because the American students went to Ireland first. So you got off the plane, and then what happened?
I was very tired. We went straight to a bus. It was actually a really, really close call from the plane to the bus. We were on the tarmac for actually an hour and a half.
Oh, I heard.
Awful. So we were running a bit late, but we all made it to the bus and then took a 2-hour ride to Belfast and then met our families. It's really awesome. I was so disoriented, so tired, but we got there pretty quickly. It wasn't too bad. So
as part of the program, you live with Rose and her family in Carrick, as y'all call it. Y'all don't call it Carrickfergus all the time. I'm just trying to sound like a townie and say Carrick. Rose, do you have siblings or?
Yeah, I have one older brother.
Was it a big imposition to have Kira staying with you for 10 days or so?
I loved having her.
Fit right in?
Yeah.
So what were some of your favorite things to do while you were in Northern Ireland?
I loved the Giant's Causeway and Ballantoy Harbor. It's up in the northern coast. It was gorgeous, all the rocky cliffs. I'm a huge fan of I love a good landscape, so it was perfect. And then also just being with Rose's family, your mom and your brother and your dad are super cool. So just driving around, looking at different parts of Carrick were really fun. I really felt like a person who had been there forever. I felt like a local because they know it so well, obviously, and have been there for a long time.
Has your family been in that part of Ireland for a long time, generations?
I've grown up in Carrick my whole life, and my mum and dad and my whole family are from Carrick.
So all the families close by there in the area. Yeah. The biggest problem with Danville is we are too far from salt water. And so Carrick's right there on the coast. Explain a little bit more about what Giant's Causeway is. Yeah,
it's an old volcanic formation, I think, with different igneous rocks that have flattened, and they're big hexagonal shapes. It's so weird, but it's so pretty. And they're all just stacked up as pillars, and you can walk out into the ocean almost because it's a big walk pathway. And I'm sure Rose knows better than I do the story of Finn Mccool and how he could walk from Northern Ireland to Scotland in that coastway, but it was really pretty.
I love that. Can you tell that story, Rose, about Finn Mccool?
I'm not an expert, but you learn it in school whenever you're younger. So basically, there's a giant in Scotland and there's a giant in Northern Ireland, which is Finn Mccool. And basically, they have an argument, and Finn Mccool built this bridge, which is the Giant's Causeway, from Belfast to Scotland. And then they had an argument and got in a fight, and then Finn Mccool had to run back to Northern Ireland. And he ripped up the bridge that he made to get over there in the first place, and then the remains is Giant's Causeway.
A lot of people don't know this. Max was almost named Finn Mccool. That was our second choice, and it would have been easier to spell than all his crazy name. But anyway, were there any surprises that you found while you were in Northern Ireland? Anything that you weren't expecting?
Well, I knew that they drove on the left side of the road. I was not prepared for the shock. I was like, oh my, because the roundabouts are all, everything is a roundabout. There's no intersections. And it was all left. And I was like, oh my God, we're going to hit something. It was terrifying. But I guess I was surprised at how well we just fit in, as a family. We just kind of clicked, and it was perfect. There was no weird, rocky start. I was just kind of this is my family now. And Rose and I are basically the same person. It was great. I loved it.
So the people of Carrickfergus didn't point and stare at you and say, oh, look, there go the Americans or anything. They were pretty kind to you.
Yeah, for the most part. Rose's mom would always we would go somewhere. She's like, yeah, we have an American. And I'm like, oh, hey guys.
Well, people from Danville have been going back and forth to Carrickfergus now. I think the Sister City program was started like in 2008. So there's kind of a history of Americans and Danvillians going back and forth. And I know actually Jay Hoffman, who coaches the women's soccer team, he's been over there. And then the center football team has made trips to the area too. So Rose, you've been in America for about 10 days now. We're recording this the morning that you are headed home back to Carrickfergus. How's your trip been?
It's been amazing. Like, it's been such an experience. I'm only 18, and I've been able to say that I've came to America on a exchange and met someone 2 weeks ago, and now we're best friends. It's been such an experience.
I do. I've been impressed with all the American students that we sent over. And I've been so impressed with all the Irish. Every person that has come over from Carrick with this group has just been outstanding. They've been polite and thoughtful and easygoing and just easy to deal with. And I've appreciated getting to know you guys. You had a perception of America before you came over. Hollywood movies and TV shows that I'm sure you've seen. Then you wind up in little old Danville. And if someone were coming to America to visit as a tourist, they probably wouldn't come to Danville first. I mean, if they're smart, they would. But someone might say, I'm going to start in New York or Washington, D.C. or Los Angeles. How did Danville meet your expectations? So my perception of America before this trip was everyone was really loud, and that was it. Because of the way perception on news of America is, it's not very good. But then coming to Danville and meeting everyone, it's just changed it completely, and just everyone's so nice, and just the lifestyle, I like it, just the way that the friends get on and family life, and it is similar to Carrick, I think. Well, they're both small towns, and I think small towns often share a lot of characteristics in common. Have you been able to feed yourself? Have you gotten enough food while you've been in Danville?
Yes.
Any favorite places you went?
I liked Mi Pueblo. It was nice. I went to the Mexican restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And then for just general, Speedway and Walmart.
Speedway and Walmart. That's kind of a common theme. You all have castles and ancient texts transcribed by monks that kept civilization alive. We have Walmart and Speedway.
Yes.
And I don't know that makes the greatest commentary on American consumerism and gluttony. But anyway, you did manage to go to Walmart a couple of times, as did, I think, just about every other person in the cohort. And I hear there were a lot of beverages. You all enjoyed the big gulps from Speedway.
Yes, 100%.
And I've also heard that portion size may have been a bit surprising. Yeah,
your cups. So our large is just about your medium size, which is crazy.
We don't want anybody to be thirsty. No. Where did you get any fried chicken while you were in town?
Vegetarians.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you get a veggie burger when you were here the other night?
No.
I made some.
No.
I'm sorry I didn't point them out. If I known, I would have pointed it. All right. What else did you do fun while you were in town? What did you enjoy?
I did enjoy the plane ride the other day.
At the neighbor's house.
Yes, it was very fun.
That was a non-sanctioned event. I won't disclose any names or locations, but some of the students, both American and Irish, got to take a ride in a private plane through the graciousness of a neighbor. And I hope your all's parents back in Ireland are okay with it now that it's already been done. Yeah. But the good news is 7 Irish kids came over. We still got 7 Irish kids. We haven't got all back on the plane to go back to Carrick, but as of this morning, they're all present and accounted for. So what else?
Just getting to know Kira's family. I feel like I fitted right in as well, and I think our family structure is very similar, which I think it's a good pairing as well. But also getting to know everyone else. I was saying to Kira last night, I haven't just made friends with the 7 Americans, but I've also made friends with the other 6 kids that have come from Northern Ireland, which I wasn't friends with before this exchange.
That's right, because the Danville kids weren't necessarily besties. We've got kids from both the city school and the county school, and they knew each other in passing, and neither did the Irish kids. They were from a kind of a wide range too.
Yeah.
Have you been going to, when you went to what I'm going to call high school? Was that in Carrick or was that in Belfast?
That was in Carrick. Yeah.
In Carrick, okay, because I know some of the kids have been going to school in Belfast. So what else? What else was fun? Do you have any special memories you're going to take back with you?
It honestly is going to Speedway and then just talking with everyone and getting to know everyone and playing card games and playing with the frisbee, playing with the football. It's
Yeah, we spent a lot of time at Millennium Park. If you can't tell, we would play like Cards Against Humanity just on the ground, or like we would play like a card game, like a just like spoons on the ground, or we would play frisbee, play football, or soccer, football, soccer, translating.
So you all are both soccer players.
Yeah.
What position do you play, Rose?
I'm a winger.
And you're a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So did y'all just have endless hours of keeper practice, just taking shots on goal?
Well, we tried.
Yeah. Me and Christian went out with Kira the other day to try to play football. It was about 5 o'clock. It was too warm for us to.
A little warmer here than it is back home.
Yes.
It lasted about 10 minutes, and they were like, "Yeah, no."
Every picture that I saw that Max sent home, he was in a hoodie or a raincoat, and it hasn't been terribly warm here. It gets worse, but it's been pretty. Oh, what'd you think of Summer Splash?
It was really good. I was scared. But I really enjoyed myself. I just made everyone make me go on the slides.
And you lived through that too.
I
so.
did live through that.
And it was cool. It was relatively cool instead of being 112. So I don't know if you got a cultural immersion, and you may not have seen every historic site in the United States, but it sounds like you got a pretty nice slice of life in the American teenager life.
Yeah, definitely.
And you had a similar experience too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great. We did a lot. I think we did more with our family than we did with the group in Ireland, which is fine. Like I liked it a lot, and it was nice.
It seemed like there were a lot of organized group activities in Ireland.
Yeah.
So when I went to camp as a kid and I made new friends, we had to, this is going to surprise you, we had to get out a piece of paper and a pen and an envelope and put a stamp on it to communicate. Yeah. And I would send a letter to somebody and it would take them a week, and then they'd write a letter. Can we come in? And then you got tired of doing that. So you lost touch. So I think it's really cool that you guys can keep in touch through social media, and you'll have plans to chat going forward.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Any other topics we want to cover? Anything else that was fun that you want to talk about?
I can't think of anything else. I just really enjoyed myself the whole time I was here.
And you did as well?
Oh yeah, I loved like having her here, and I loved Carrick. I'm already looking at like trying to find flights for like back to Dublin and a bus back to Belfast.
I think somebody needs to take a semester abroad, either
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
And go to Ireland, or one of y'all come here. I think that could be a really neat opportunity for somebody as you guys approach university or college or whatever we call it. All right, I don't have any other questions, so Rose Cately, thank you for being with me.
No problem, thank you.
Kira Pusateri, thank you for being with me.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks, girls. It's been great. Once again, I'd like to thank my guests, Christian Perry and Rose Cately from Carrickfergus in Northern Ireland, Kira Pusateri, and my own son, Max Gurman. I want to thank all you guys for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join me. It's fun getting to talk to you. All of these kids, all the American kids that got sent to Carrickfergus, and all the kids from Carrickfergus who came over here for a visit, they were all outstanding young people, and I just really enjoyed being around them, and it was a wonderful experience for them, and it was a great experience for us, the parents, as we got to participate too. Also, a special thanks to Milton Riegelman, Jane Dewey, Matthew Hollick, Ryan Moffitt, the Danville Sister City Commission, all the folks in similar positions in Carrickfergus. Thanks to all those people for their hard work in making this exchange program happen. I know these kids really had a beneficial and unique experience and they will cherish it for the rest of their lives. If you want to talk to me, Logan H. Gurman, about this show or about real estate, you can email me at ManAboutDanville@gmail.com. You can find my website, ManAboutDanville.com. I'm on Twitter at ManDanville. I've got a Facebook page, ManAboutDanville, and you can follow me on Instagram at ManAboutDanville. You can find this podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. And when you do find me, give me a rating, give me a review. I really appreciate those. Until next time, be well, have a good weekend, and thanks for listening.
That's it. We're out. Thanks so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Subscribe to Man About Danville wherever you access your favorite podcasts, and be sure to tell your friends about us. You've been listening to Man About Danville with Logan H. Gurman, brought to you by the Logan Company, a commercial and residential real estate brokerage for Danville and Central Kentucky. Know someone who would be a good guest? Want to be a guest yourself? Have an idea for the show? Get in touch with us. Find all our contact information on the web at ManAboutDanville.com. Thanks for joining us.